Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Khadija, and in my channel I talk about everything related to women and midwifery. So today I'm going to be talking about how to migrate to Ireland as a midwife. So we understand that my Ireland process is not kind of straightforward process, and a lot of people tends to stop by the way and just like, oh, this thing is too stressful, let me just go to UK and all of that. But there are lots of opportunities everywhere basically. But there are a lot of things. If you like Ireland, just understand the process before you start. So if this look like what you are interested in, please kindly watch till the end. Then don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that before. Then to my returning subscribers, thank you, I really appreciate. So I overview of this: migrating to Ireland as a midwife. You need to go to Ireland website, which I'm going to be Nurse and Midwifery Board of Ireland website, which I'm going to be posting the link under this video. The thing you need to do for any migration process is to really understand what it is like, what the process is like. And that is why when you go to Nurse and Midwifery Board of Ireland website, they already put it there, the guide, and they state it, clearly in their website that make sure you read the guide provided at the bottom of this page, and you understand it before you start the process, because the process needs you to really understand it. But the overview is that it has two processes. There is registration, recognition, and registration basically. So you need to do recognition, then after that, then you register with them. The recognition is just that trying to verify your document, and trying to recognize that you are actually a registered midwife from your country, and they compare your education with the Ireland's Irish standard, Irish education standard, and try to compare both of them. And at the end of the qualification recognition, they are going to find out if your qualification actually is comparable to that of Irish, or you will be needing a kind of adaptation course, or maybe like kind of test. So this process, after the recognition, then if they really recognize your certificates and all of that, then you do the registration. But for all of us from Africa, like Nigeria, Ghana and all of that, as a midwife, they will require you to really do an adaptation, and that is when, and the adaptation is only done in Ireland, and that is when you will be required to start applying for job. When you apply for a job, you get a job, and you are now, you apply for visa, you go to Ireland, you start working with your with your trust, and then you most likely going to be working as a pre-registrant, practitioner as well. Then after I think it's like 12 weeks, 6 to 12 weeks, then they will be able to see that then your manager and your hospital and all of that will give a kind of report about your service, that okay, you've done your adaptation, this and that, and that is when you'll be able to get registered. Do you get? So that is just really an overview of what all the process is. But I'm still going to go through it. And don't forget that this guide, everything I'm saying is on the guide in their website, and you can go there to read everything. Make sure you understand it before you start your process. So the first thing is that you go to NMBI website, download their guide, which I am explaining in this video anyway. So that's just what I just said now. So when you get there, of course, I'm going to put the link here. You see oversee qualification recognition and registration. That's just what I say. For oversee, for both nurses and midwife, it's actually two processes for Ireland: qualification registration, recognition, and registration. So the first one you do is recognition. Recognition is comparing your qualification with Irish education standard. Okay, also before you start, understand the process. Do not move to Ireland until you get decision. That's registration basically. So they're just trying to tell you that, just like what the trust will tell you when you're trying to come to the UK, when they send you COS and all of that, they will tell you that you should not make any travel arrangements until you have gotten your visa. That's just what it is all about. So then another important thing is that all your documents must be updated by yourself and all of that. Everything is stated on the NMBI website. So when you, for the recognition process now, you log in into the my NMBI, which I'm going to send the link here. Then you create an account, just like when you want to create an account for UK as well. So you create an account. After creating an account, you answer questions, some questions, just to allow NMBI to classify your application. In this place, they actually do it like G1, they do a classification for G1, G2, G3. For us from Ghana, African, and all of that, we are basically G3 classification. It means like we don't really have any, we do not have our education in the Irish or European Union or in UK or anything. So but if you are already in the UK and you spend over 3 to 4 years in the UK and you now want to go to, you want to go to Ireland, then you will be like G2, not G3 anymore. Do you get now? But if you are just starting, you see in your own country, you are in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, all of that, Zimbabwe, and all of that, you are actually putting G3. But they are going to, when you get there, all those questions are actually self-explanatory, and they will be able to, classify you into what category you have. Then list of required documents will be presented to you. So all the documents that you need to upload will be presented to you. Then you need to, upload all the required documents and pay the appropriate fee. So the recognition fee is around £350. Then you will get a reply from them, which could be qualification recognized, submit missing document, a compensation measure is required, qualification refused for recognition, and all of that. So those are the possible reply you could get from NMBI. But for most of us from the from African country, as I said earlier, we will most likely get qualification, a compensation measure is required, except if you do not submit all of the documents you meant to submit, then they will have to submit missing documents. However, you cannot just submit document like that. You have to submit what's it called, certified document. It means all your document must be, there must be a stamp, like is it stamp or something. You have to take the document to, like, for those in Nigeria or something, you can take it to a lawyer, a solicitor, a recognized body too. These are the people that will certify your document. They're like, yes, they actually saw the original copy of your document. You get? So those are the documents you are meant to submit. So now that's for the recognition process. Then for the registration process, you also log into my NMBI. You've already created an account before. Answer questions to allow NMBI to classify your application. Provide evidence of English. So for Ireland, they actually accept 6.5 in learning of the modules. So if you have 6.5 in listening, they will collect it. If you have 6.5 in reading, they will collect it. If you have 6.5 in what other modules, speaking and writing, either of the modules, you have 6.5. And of course, every other module must be 7.5, 7.0 and above. Then another thing is list of required documents will also be presented to you. then you upload and pay appropriate fee. At this time, the fee is £135 for registration. Then NMBI will reply you either you are now registered, resubmit missing document, registration with condition attached, and registration refused. So you can actually appeal if you hear registration with condition attached, registration refused. You can appeal for all of that. Everything, all the details is on their website. Another thing you need to do before you start all of this process is that you assess yourself to know if you qualify at no fee, still on their website. So you create an account, select registration service, oversee recognition. After submitting all documents, it might take up to 3 months to get feedback from the NMBI. So my NMBI, when you go to, just an overview, when you go to my NMBI account, you click, registration service. After that, you click oversee recognition, then fill personal details, of course, then answer next questions and all of that. Now, if you want to ask like how long does it take, how long it takes depends basically that if you submit all the documents that you'll be needing, basically, then for you to finish your compensation major, which is either adaptation, for midwives it's actually adaptation. It's only nurses that have the option of writing CBT and OSCE basically. Yeah, I'll say CBT and OSCE, but that is how it is. They can write that, but for midwives, you are not allowed to write those exams. You are meant to do a compensation major, which is just like an adaptation that you go do in the hospital in Ireland. Just an overview of all the things you need to do when you are trying to migrate to Ireland. It's very, very simple because unlike the UK, that there's no like everything is not really stated in the website, in the UK website, NMC website. Basically, it is, we actually know about the NMC UK process because lots of people have done it. Then for this Ireland, when you get to their website, they have different guide, the application user guide, so when you are downloading the user guide, don't forget to download the one that is actually relevant to you as an overseas, registered person. So they have different type of guide. They have application user guide for, when I download this now, they have registrant user guide, they have first time login user guide, all of that, how you can log it, everything is basically stated here. Recognition process, as I've said earlier, you set up an account on my NMBI website. You log in into your account, select registration service, and then oversee recognition. You will answer a series of questions which will categorize your application. You will see a list of documents to upload. This includes a certified copy of your passport, certified copy of your qualification, other relevant training, certificates of current professional status, otherwise known as certificates of good standing for all jurisdictions where you are currently or were previously registered, and 5 official translation for any document that is not written in English. So for instance, if you are from Nigeria, you'll be expected to, of course, so your passport. And when I mean by satisfy, what they mean by satisfy is that somebody I've already seen, somebody of, like a lawyer, basically. I think for Nigeria, it will be easy to use a lawyer. You can actually get a lawyer or a firm on everywhere, then, or a body, basically. So they need to certify that they have seen the original copy of all of your documents. Then those are the documents you will submit. Then if your documents are not written in English, you have to, submit the translated copy as well. Then you will that's step 4 now. You will then be asked to enter details of your professional experience since qualifying. You will see an employment form that you will need to download and send to your employer for completion. So if you are currently working, and then you print a form that you give to your employer in your place of work, in your hospital, that they will fill for you, just to be sure that you are currently working and all of that. Then you will then be asked to enter the details of your relevant qualifications. You will see a qualification form that you will need to download and send to your college for completion. So you will download a copy of qualification form and send to your college, that's to your school. The college will also need to provide you with transcript for the qualification. So you also need your transcript for the NMBI process, for the Ireland processing. Then you then need to save your application, and when the documents have been returned to you from the college and employers, you will log back in and upload them. You will need to obtain a certified copy of the transcript first before you upload them. Don't forget, I've already told you how you get your documents certified. You must check all your entries and documentation very carefully before proceeding. You can save and edit your application. Do not submit on an incomplete application, and this will lead to delay, because if you do not appropriately submit all the documents required of you, they won't be able to really quickly process your application. When you have checked that all your details and documents are correct, you will then complete a declaration form to pay the fee, and that is when you pay the £350 I said earlier. When your application is submitted, it will be queued for the first assessment. NMBI will carry out source verification on certain documents and carry out an administrative assessment. If your application is incomplete, you will be contacted by email to provide the missing information, and your application will not proceed until you have provided it. When your application is complete, it will proceed to education assessment. The qualification assessor may require further information from you. You will then be informed of the outcome of the education assessment, and I think that is the end of the recognition process. So basically they are just trying to check your documents, how is everything well submitted and all of that. And don't forget, during the recognition you'll be needing a transcript from your school, and you'll be needing a transcript. You'll be require your school to complete a form, and also your employer to complete a form, and you will be needing to satisfy all your documents from whether a lawyer, a solicitor, or somebody. I'm going to list those people that can certify your documents in there. So after that, the possible outcome is either your qualifications are recognized and you can move straight to applying for registration. This happen is less than 5% of non-EU overseas applicants. It means it is really, really less possible, less likely for us, to get that kind of reply. Most of the reply you get is that a compensation measure is required. Then that is the most thing you get, and this happen in 95% of applicants. So just put your mind in, like, a compensation measure is required. Your most of the time your qualifications cannot be like it's not recognized except you did not submit the appropriate document. So compensation measures refers to a period of adaptation or an aptitude test that needs to be successfully completed before your qualification can be recognized. So for the test, is only for the nurses, not midwife. A midwife will need to do an adaptation measure. Of course, you can't do registration before the completion of the adaptation measure, basically. But let me just talk about the registration. You set up an account on NMBI, select oversee registration. You log into your account, select oversee registration. You will answer a series of questions and they will classify your document. So provide evidence of English language. It is when you are doing registration that IELTS is required. You complete a declaration after putting your IELTS. You pay the appropriate fee, which is the I think that's £135. Yeah, No, the first one is 350. Yes, registration fee is £135. Then after that, if your application is incomplete, you'll be contacted for email. Then you can get register with condition as filed, refuse registration. So that is that about that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the adaptation measures. Compensation measure refer to either a period of adaptation or an aptitude test that needs to be successfully completed before your qualification will be recognized in Ireland. There are mechanisms which allow you to demonstrate that you have met the required standard in the gap or shortfall areas that have identified in your qualifications when compared to the NMBI standard. You may be required to successfully complete a compensation measure if gaps have been formed between within your professional qualifications and experience compared with the required Irish standard. This compensation measure, and for midwife now, you will be doing an adaptation, not any test. So the period of adaptation is a period of supervised practice and is subject to an assessment. The supervised practice is under the responsibility of a qualified member of the profession. The period of adaptation may be a decision of the NMBI, be supplemented with additional independently assessed academic education. Period of supervised practice must be undertaken at an approved Irish healthcare facility. Means you have to, travel to Ireland and start working in their hospital, to do your adaptation. You'll be able to choose from a list of hospitals matched to the division of the register you are applying to and approved by NMBI. A list of approved healthcare facilities is also in their website. You can check it. The training during the adaptation period should be provided through a combination of theoretical and clinical modules. The minimum time frame to complete the clinical learning component of an adaptation period is 6 weeks. In addition to any introduction and other theoretical learning, the period to complete the clinical components may be extended to 12 weeks and beyond if required. So within that 6 weeks, you're meant to, complete 6 to 12 weeks, you're meant to complete your adaptation period. And it means that as soon you start your recognition process, you start looking for job, and all of that. So that is right, because it has to be done in Ireland. So you must have gotten a job, go to Ireland and all of that. So I'm going to post the link of how to apply for job as well under this video. So at the end of the adaptation of your placement, the director of nursing of the director of midwifery will be asked to recommend whether or not you are eligible for the recognition of your qualification. So it is then your manager will give a report. Then they will know that if your qualification is not recognized. So it is then after the recognition, then you can now do your registration, and that is all about that. But you will not apply for Ireland visa without really getting anywhere, without getting job, without. So it is when you get job, your job can give you a letter, just like we get COS, to be able to apply for the Ireland visa. I hope you understand the process now to migrate to Ireland as a midwife. So the process is clearly stated that it has two things that you need to do to work as a midwife in Ireland. You have to go to NMBI website, you register, you create an account and you apply for qualification recognition, overseas qualification recognition. You are not trained in EU or Ireland or anything, so you're purely an overseas. And when they do the qualification, you're mostly in G3, G3 for us from Africa. Then during that process, you do your qualification, you start your qualification recognition process. Submit all your documents, and those documents has to be certified one. You make sure you download the form to give to your college to complete, and you download the form to give to your employer to complete as well. Then you prepare to get a transcript from your school as well. Then after that, the most reply you will be getting is that compensation measure is required. For midwife, your compensation measure is usually adaptation in the Ireland healthcare system. That's in their hospital. So when you get that, you start looking for job. As soon as you get job, you move to Ireland. They give you, of course, give you a letter. You used to apply for visa. You go to Ireland. You do that adaptation and all of that. Your qualification is not recognized. Then you can apply for registration. And that is that about moving to Ireland as a midwife. If you have any questions, you can say under this video and I'm going to answer. If this look at what you're interested in, what you like, and you watched till this end, please kindly like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, please, and engage in my posts so YouTube will be like recommending my videos to people to watch. Thank you very much for watching my video. See you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.